everyone, welcome back to the Beehive Buzz. I'm the Queen Bee, Lisa. So first of all, I just want to thank all the new subscribers. I've seen several come through and subscribe. Thank you so much. That means so much, and I know it takes time out of your day to watch my videos, so thank you. Also, I want to thank Jen from Today in Jen's Room, Today in Jen's Sewing Room, for setting up the Friday Sews community. It's a lot of fun to be part of that. I don't post on Fridays because very simply, logistically, it's just not the easiest thing for me to get around to. Thursdays are actually one of my busiest days of the week because after work, my son has art lessons and then I have a ladies' Bible study that night. And by the time I get home long enough to decompress and think about something other than what's next on the list, it's just too late to do anything. And I'm not a night owl. Usually by 9 o'clock at night I am starting the unwinding and snuggling down in bed to read or watch a video, so it's not a great time for me to be messing around with technology and getting videos out there because it takes a while to upload. You know, even if I get the editing done in bits and spurts, it takes a while to upload. So but I do enjoy watching them, so I do watch them. As you can see behind me, if you've already spotted it, I have a quilt top almost finished. This is the wedding quilt. It's going to have a narrow white border around it, and then I'm going to pick up some of this fabric right here, this coral flowered fabric. That's going to be the outside border and the backing, but I had to order the fabric. I did go to Joann's Thursday night. This is a long story. I know I just said Thursdays are my busiest days, but because of a snowstorm coming through yesterday, we went and did our grocery shopping Thursday night. We do our grocery shopping bi-weekly, and this was a shopping week. You can tell because like we're scraping the back of the cupboards and the bottom of the freezer. So we decided Thursday was a much nicer day to go than Friday. Normally we would do Friday night because, you know, we don't have to get up early the next day. That was a lot of information you didn't require, but there you go. That being said, when we went to Joann's, I looked for some sort of fabric that would look good with what I already had. And this color right here is so hard to find. It's so hard to match. I brought like a little packet of snippets with the different colors in the quilt, and it was a total just not gonna happen. And our Joann's is smaller. Some of the Joann's like in the cities are bigger, and I probably would have had better luck, but there was just nothing. So as soon as we got home, I got online onto Missouri Store Quilt Company because that's where I originally bought the fabric. And they had some, but they didn't have the color I was looking for. They had the gray background that's in the color line, and it is pretty, but I know the coral color is going to really make it pop. So I quickly got on Etsy, and I found some, and I only had 5 or 6 yards left, and it wasn't too bad of a price, so I just bought it all. I was like, I love it. I'll probably use it in something else anyway. So it's the backing and the border, the wide border on the outside. I still have to get binding fabric, but that's, for me, that's not as difficult as finding like the backing in that wide border. So as you can see, that's the general flavor of the quilt. Yay. And I'm loving it. I always tell people, hey, if you don't like the quilt I give you, just give it back. I'll keep it. I've never had any takers for that. Everybody keeps their quilts. So that's what's going on with that. Now, the other thing for the wedding you knew I've been working on is trying to find fabric. I found it. I'm very excited about this. So while our Joann's is small and the pickings are pretty small, I did find some fabric that I absolutely fell in love with. And this is a dusty coral color. It is coming across on camera a little brighter, more pinky than it actually is. But it's definitely a dusty coral, a shade or two darker than that lighter coral that's right in the middle of my quilt there. And it's a stretch satin, and it's barely stretching 2 ways. So when I cut it out, I'm gonna have to be really careful about that because this dress, probably gonna have to wear shapewear under it, which I loathe. I don't ever wear shapewear. I don't even have any. But you see, I'm gonna make it so it's a little less form-fitting and a little more accommodating for a mature figure that's had a lot of babies. Okay. The nice thing is this drapey thing does cover part of the problem area on my figure, which will be fine. I think it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna make a couple little tweaks to the sizing and the pattern, and I think it will be all right. So for that drapey part, I got this beautiful, look at this. Oh, this is a stretch satin. And this is just a regular, kind of drapey chiffon. See how that is so see-through? But look at it with this coral. It's going to be popping. It's going to be popping. So I think that's going to be nice. Now, two things that I'm nervous about. I am not crazy about sewing on satin. I am not. So that's going to be a slow process. And I have never sewn anything like this. So I got to look up some hints. Okay? If anybody knows of any good hints. Thankfully, the pattern is not very complicated. The lines are straight. I don't think I can screw it up too badly. The other thing I'm nervous about is this. Invisible zipper. I have done regular zippers for years, decades, my whole life. But I said this thing calls for an invisible zipper. Probably not a great time to try experimenting with one, but it says right on the package, easy to use, easy to install, and I'm going to hold them to that, okay? We are going to hold them to that. Better be. I've watched a lot of videos and stuff. It actually doesn't look hard. I'm not that nervous about it, but I am a little bit. And I've got I had to get some thread. That's boring. I just dropped it. Thread. And I got some new needles because I know the satin and stuff is going to take some extra sharp needles. So I made sure I got that, and I got some more jersey. Why did I get some more jersey needles? Because I have some more of that stretchy fabric I want to sew. So I couldn't decide between the coral for the wedding or this print here. See, it's got the coral bits and the greens in it, but it's kind of dark for June, and I thought, well, I don't know, maybe not because it's going to be an afternoon evening wedding, and I wanted something a little less everyday-ish looking. So I got enough of this to make a dress. I don't know what pattern I'm going to use for it, just one that I have in my stash. This is a stretch chiffon, and it is, I really like it's like a dusty navy background. I really like the print, and my husband was laughing at me because I had both pieces, the coral and this, in my cart, and I said I can't decide which one for the wedding, and he was no help. He's like, well, whatever you decide, I'm sure you'll look lovely. Isn't he sweet? But they both found their way into my cart. They just they both jumped in there. So this is it's a 4-way stretch. It's not a huge stretch on it, but it's enough so that it's a little more forgiving than just a straight up woven. Okay, so that's what's happening. I'm going to put the white borders, the narrow borders on today because I have that fabric. I'm not sure this is even what this is going to look like. It's a white on white vine pattern. I don't know if that's going to show. Very simple. In fact, the lady who was cutting out my fabric, she cut out the stretch satin and the chiffon and the stretch chiffon, and then she got to this cotton and she laughed. She goes, well, that's ironic. You got all this fancy fabric and then you have plain white. And I said, yeah, that's for borders on a quilt that I didn't have enough white for. So she was fun to talk to, and we were talking about different sewing things. The next thing on my list, once I get the borders on the wedding quilt, it's time to start on the graduation quilt while I'm waiting for the other fabric for the wedding quilt to come in. I'm going to use the Urban Chick pattern from Fabric Cafe, which I have right here. I've used it before. I know it goes together really quickly. Of course, their patterns all do. I love their patterns. And because my cats are possessive, I've already prepped the fabric. It's all ironed, laid out, ready to be cut. So all week, my black cat's been claiming this fabric as her own. So I'm gonna have to clean the white fabric because there's little black hairs all over it, and I can with a lint brush, clean it up. Thankfully, I know my daughter, the one who's getting quilt, isn't allergic to cats, but I'll wash the quilt before I give it to her anyway, so it'll get all that nice puckery stuff. Do you like that little pucker after you wash it? I just think that's so fun. Okay, so that's what's happening at the sewing machine. Some things that I did, I just hit the camera, sorry about that. So something else I got while I was at Joann's, just because, we had all the spring weather in February, and now it's just snow, snow, snow. You're going to see some blips, or already have seen blips of me hiking in the snow. We got more last night. We got probably another 3 or 4 inches. So March is bringing back winter for us, but the days are numbered. We know when we hit March, it's not going to last very long, and we start thinking about things like spring and planting and gardens. So I haven't gotten any seeds yet to start inside. We usually start a few inside, and we do container gardening now. I used to have a big garden plot when all the kids were home, and we were able to do that. But these days we just do a small garden in containers, and I'm trying to push for a raised bed, start a raised bed garden this year, and every year add to it just a little bit, because it is easier to work with a raised bed than it is to get on the ground. Let's be honest. So anyway, this goes in, this can go by our front walk, by my little garden flag. And of course they had a bee one, so guess what? Yeah, I had to. Missouri Star Quilt Company's got a beehive clock I almost bought. I was that close. I was like, no, just stop. Also, from doing the quilt block for the wedding, this pattern is called 50-40 Fight or Flight, and you can find the tutorial on the Missouri Star Quilt Company YouTube channel. It's not hard. It gives the illusion of these curved pieces. There's no curves in it. Trust me. There's no curves. But I have all these little snippets left over. And remember a couple videos back, I told you I got these to put patterns in. They're perfect size to start putting my snippets in. Now, this isn't even the tip of the iceberg of what I have. I have saved snippets for a long time. I have bags and bags of them upstairs in my storage area for such things, and they're just in bags. So I'm going to just start putting them in here, because string quilting is, I find it very therapeutic. I think it's just, you just grab something, slap it on there, and keep going. It's just the Zen type of sewing that sometimes you just need to do that. So I'm going to start getting my snippets in my containers. I know some people do it by colors, but my blocks are not going to be by color. So I think I'm just going to put them in there and put them on my shelf, and then they're ready for when I want to use them. And I don't mind digging through trying to find colors. That doesn't bother me. It's kind of fun, because then you get to get a reminder of what you actually have. Okay, so one other thing we've been thinking about is camping. Well, not today. It's like 20-something degrees out, and it's still snowing a little bit. Not even enough to say it's really snowing. But we've got all our reservations made for the summer, and we are looking forward to getting out there once the weather changes. One of the things I want to do is buy 2 kayaks. Like I said, my husband isn't big in the water, but my son and I would enjoy that. So I'm going to start looking into what is available in our price range for that. And of course, life jackets. I'm a good swimmer, and my son's a pretty good swimmer, but better to be safe, right? So that's what's happening around the beehive. I hope that you all have had a good week. I hope that you've been able to get in your sewing areas wherever they are and get something done. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below. What are you up to these days? And are you afraid of invisible zippers, and are they hard to do? Help me out on that. Have a good one. Bye. So Isaac got this 3D printing pen for Christmas. It is so cool. And he's been playing around with it. But this is actually for your school project. Is that what it's for?
Yes.
And he has to make a model of the solar system. And the planets have to be general scale. The other day he had it figured out, exact sizes, and it just, I don't know how he does it, but it gave me a headache just thinking about it. And then he found out general sizes, so yay. So this is a nice thing. We were talking about it this morning, and I said, well, if you need anything for your project, you need to let me know. So if I have to go get stuff this weekend, I can do that. And he said, no, I think I can figure it out. And here, I forgot about this 3D pen that he has. It's so cool. Which one is that?
Saturn. The rings.
Oh. Cool. So what he'll do is go and trim like these little whiskers. I'm sure that's just an easy trim off.
Doing spheres is very difficult.
Yeah. I can see how that would be, but still, it's a pretty cool idea to use this tool. Can you sand the jagged edges on your sphere to make it look a little more like a sphere?
I might do that.
Yeah.
Also, the bottoms are flat, so I'm gonna need to
do the other side.
Basically head.
Sure. So Isaac is working away. Is it like hot glue? Does it like burn if you get it on your hands?
Yeah, it's over 200 degrees.
Okay. So like hot glue, you don't want to get it on there.
Celsius.
Oh, are you sure? Celsius?
Let me check. 60 degrees Celsius to 230 degrees Celsius adjustable.
That gets pretty hot.
Yeah.
Very cool. Alrighty, so you can see we got about 5 or 6 inches of snow, and we're just gonna mosey along here. This is what I like. Look at these tracks. I think, yeah, just some little tracks going to hide here and there. This actually might have been my cat. She likes to come out every so often, and then she walks back and forth, decides it's too yucky out. So this is where we're going. I'm going to put on my gloves. It's about 26 degrees. So we're heading up this path right up there. Okay, here we go. Going up the hill. Hang on, I'm trying to put on my glove. Because it's about 26 degrees. Here's some more animal tracks. We have a lot of rabbits and things. Our next door neighbors actually have dogs. I'm wondering if, I don't know if they come down here. We've got foxes in the area, all kinds of stuff. So this is actually wide enough. We've had times where we've had activities up here. There's a bonfire area. Oh, so pretty. And cars can drive up here. Years ago, we used to have church functions up here in the pavilion area, which I'll show you. But our congregation is getting older and less mobile, so we don't come up here so much anymore. We have a fire pit down in the house. It's a portable one. And when we do that, we usually stay down by the house. It's a little bit easier because that's where all the snacks and drinks are, right? So you can see we've had a visitor through here, unsurprisingly. Excuse the heavy breathing. That part I just did is steeper than it looks. So it's a mess right now. We try to clean it out about every spring because we do come up here for like 4th of July, have some friends over if we have graduations or something. But oh yeah, in here, in that spot, right in here, there's actually a fire pit there. But you can see we have a lot of overgrowth now. We need to clean that out this spring. And big old fashioned tire swing. The kids love that. Just a little worried about that tree. It's still healthy, at least it was last year, so we always look at it like, ooh. So this is our pavilion area. We live in a parsonage, in case you didn't pick up on that. And this is actually the parsonage property right here. Yeah, that's what you think it is. It's an outhouse. It hasn't been used in years though, but it's still here. When we had our tent, we kept talking about coming up here just to tent for a few nights, just for giggles and grins. But when we got our camper, oh, come on, focus. When we got our camper, we got rid of the tent. The guy that sold us the camper, we gave him the tent because he had a family. And he didn't want the camper anymore because, well, this way, if I turn it this way. Oh, I can't see a thing when I do that. Sorry. I know this way looks goofy when I put it on YouTube, but oh well. Anyway, let me finish the story. When we bought the camper, the gentleman that sold it to us has a family. And the reason why they were getting rid of the camper is because the truck that they hold the camper with, he totaled it. He was driving home from work and a flock of turkeys flew out in front of him and he went off the road and a lot of damage was done. He was fine, but they weren't sure they wanted to buy another big camper because of the gas prices and whatnot. So we bought the camper, and when we went up to get it, we said, hey, do you want our tent? It's a good size for a family. We've had it for 6 or 7 years, never had an issue with it. We waterproof it every year. It's a good tent. And so he said, yeah, sure, I'll take it. So we kind of gave it to him, which is fine. It was getting too big for us because our family has shrunk as the years go on. I'm actually thinking about getting another tent, a smaller one, just for a quick couple of 2-night trips, because there's so many places to camp around here, including my own backyard. So this is our ball field. You can see backstop there. And we've had ball games back in the day. A couple of the churches used to get together and we'd have some ball games up here. It is fun to come up here and just throw a frisbee around. This is my favorite place to mow when we mow because it's zen mowing. I mean, there's like, you just go round and round. You got your earmuffs on, it's white noise. And for a busy mom, that's like, nobody can bother me. All right, here's the fun part. We're going up here. You can see the sun's starting to peek over the ridge over there. We're gonna go pretty much straight up. I have a favorite place up there that used to go up and sit, especially during the lockdown, during COVID. We were up here a lot. We're very blessed. I know a lot of people were getting cramped, but and you know, you get kind of stir crazy, but we have plenty of opportunity to get out. And being out in the country, we could go for runs. In fact, that's how one of my daughters and I decided during summer 2020 to train for a half marathon. Of course, everything was canceled, but we had it clocked out from our house. We knew how far it was for a half marathon. And by August, we were able to run it. So that was fun. I haven't done that again. I run a little bit from time to time. Like, I don't do more than a 5K these days, but it was fun. All right, this is the farmer's field. You put manure down the other day, but you can't see that now. And just beyond this little weed line right here, that is usually corn. But this time of year, they don't care. There's nothing going on. So we hike. Here we go. So yeah, that's my little hike this morning. I'm still at the top of the hill, just taking in the view. As you can see behind me, it does go up a little bit further, and there's a big field on the other side, and then there's like a path. Some hunters have their stands up in that woods back there. We've explored it a little bit, especially like I said, during COVID shutdown, we were all over the place here. We did we have a lot of dirt roads, and we just kind of walked some of the dirt roads and left the field. There's a cemetery across from the church from us, and we would, like, if I walk around this ridge that way and then go down the hill, I'll come out behind the cemetery. That's only about 2/10 of a mile from my house, so that's not bad. But yeah, so I'm gonna hike back down here and get some breakfast, take a shower. My husband's got to leave here in a little bit to go see a client, and get ready for my day, which is starting 2 hours later, which is fine.